Oh, hey. Okay. Testing one. Hello. Yeah. Cool. Hey there, guys. DJ Slope here from Slope's Game Room, doing my annual, year in review, what's coming up sort of video. But it's going to be a bit different because I have now been doing YouTube full time for an entire year. Go me! Yes, I did it. And I'm still doing it, which means it was a success. It had its ups and downs. We'll get to all of that in a moment. But yeah, it's, like I say, it's a complete dream job that I'm still able to do. And I'm still able to tell people I do YouTube as a full-time job. It's insane. Absolutely insane. And before I get into it, and I actually talk about some of the ups and some of the downs as well, as a lot of YouTubers do, I just want to say, you may hear the odd negative thing in this video, but without a doubt, being a full-time YouTuber is the very best job, if you want to call it that. It is, actually, yeah. It's the very best job I've ever had in my entire life. I love being a YouTuber. I'll get into some of the reasons why in a moment, but basically that just comes down to you guys. Not just if you're a sponsor or a Patreon or a viewer, whoever you are, if you're watching my videos, I cannot thank you enough. Seriously, and I every YouTuber says it, but we all don't say it enough. Whole heart, hand on my heart, I wouldn't be doing this job if it wasn't for you guys enjoying what I create. So thank you all so much for being able to make YouTube a job. It blows my mind that I get to say that. It's actually, I work so hard for it, guys. Leading up to be able to go into full-time YouTube, those last couple of years, I made myself ill. I worked so hard when I knew that, okay, this is now something I want to do. And it's because of you guys. Thank you. I can keep going round and round, but yeah, thank you so much. I've got some notes here. I don't want to make sure I forget anything. But yeah, number one thing, straight off the bat, you're going to hear a lot of YouTubers cry about certain stuff. You'll hear a few negatives, like I say in this video, but we all wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy doing it. This is my favorite job I've ever had, and I've had a lot. So yeah, I've been doing YouTube for a whole year now. It's the best job I've ever had, and I just want to say, on the lead up to becoming a YouTuber, I in case you don't know, I have a family, as a lot of people do, but I've got a 4-year-old son, I've got a 2-year-old daughter, I've got a wife, we've got a new house and all of that sort of stuff. So it was an incredibly scary thing for me to be able to do, because as you would expect, YouTube is something that the money you earn. I'm going to try and be as blunt as I can in this video, by the way, guys. Anyone that's ever watched me in a Q&A will know I'm very blunt with my answers. I like to give you guys as honest as I possibly can. I'm going to do that in this video. I was very scared about becoming a YouTuber, and I took a little bit longer than I perhaps should have done to make that leap into becoming a full-time YouTuber, and it was because of my family. I've always had a set income coming into my account, and to pay bills or whatever, put food on the table, all that sort of stuff. For the longest time, I've been in work 15 odd years, different jobs, but I've never really been out of work longer than a few weeks. Since I've left school completely, I've always been into work and always been in work. I'm just so scared about going into a job that was, had an income that was all over the place. So, like I said, I waited longer than I should have done, but I really wanted to make sure that it worked. And yeah, I got to that stage towards the end of last year. I think it was actually November, at the very end of November, that I handed in my notice of 2018. So yeah, there you go. That's how it did. But besides all that, yes, I had to make sure that I was secure, and that's why it took me so long to become a YouTuber. But anyway, regardless, why did I actually become a YouTuber in the first place? Was it because of the money? Absolutely not. So all those people out there, should I start a YouTube channel? If you're doing it for the money, then no, you shouldn't. In the first few years, I started to earn money towards the end, but and when I say money, I'm talking less than part-time work, pocket change, buy yourself a game every few months, that sort of money, like nothing. But the reason I started being a YouTuber, if we're going to go back to the beginning, was because I was obsessed with YouTube. I watched a lot of YouTube. A lot of the times I would choose to watch that over, anything that you'd watch on TV. I'd watch people like Lazy Game Reviews. I'd watch like The Gaming Historian, even Angry Video Game Nerd. I always remember his video on the Sword Quest series really fascinated me because I didn't know nothing about that history until I watched his video, and I became obsessed with the history of gaming. Now, the reason why I really wanted to start a YouTube channel is because the Americans, basically, the American YouTubers, including the ones I've just mentioned, did such an excellent job at YouTube that a lot of the people in the UK, or at least this is how I saw it, started to believe that our history was an American history. And, you know, like I say, nothing against American YouTubers. They just did such a good job. That's what we believed, you know. I mean, I was consuming more American content than UK content back in the day. And I remember going into game shops and people talking about how incredible Mega Man was, or how popular the NES was, the video game crash of 1983, all of these sort of things. And all of that was either non-existent or just, you know, a little bit false compared to what we actually experienced in the UK. So I started discovering more UK-centric channels, people like obviously Larry Bundy Jr., Ashin's earlier videos when he used to cover video game stuff a lot more, among others as well. And that's what I decided I wanted to do. And I'll tell you straight away, you know, you always think you're like really, I remember back in my early days, I always remember I felt really at arm's length away from all of these big time YouTubers when I started off. But the big ones that were actually interested in gaming and still weren't doing it for the money, but were actually interested in the history of games, you know, because that was the area I was pushing myself towards. I remember my very first video about the story of Roland, about the Roland series of games on the Amstrad CPCs. It wasn't that long until me and Larry started talking to each other. I mean, I was probably less than 1,000 subscribers back then. You know, he was, I don't want to say one of my heroes, that sounds corny, but he was definitely one of my main influences to starting a channel. And like I said, obviously people that watch his channel and my channel know that we've collaborated a hell of a lot. And what I have discovered, especially this last year, there are a lot of channels out there that are not interested in talking to you, even though they do, you know, they may focus on that particular type of thing. You can definitely see they're doing it for the money and no other reason. Absolutely. Because there'll be certain channels that I was bigger than originally. And I would talk to them, I would get them involved in my videos because I don't really care about subscriber numbers. You know, if you want to be a part of my video, if I like your content and I like your style and I like your voice, all that sort of thing, you'll be in one of my videos, I'll contact you. But, you know, I'd work with these smaller channels, and as soon as they get big, they don't want to talk to you anymore. Even though you create the sort of content that, you know, they like, they don't want to talk to you anymore because, you know, they've worked out the real way to make money on YouTube is to pump out videos every single day. And there's two ways I've discovered to make money, to make a living even on YouTube. You can pump out videos every single day and try and find any fucking topic you can find just to get a fucking video out, just so you've got something to upload, just so you get clicks. Those people tend to grow a little bit faster, in all honesty. But the other side is what I like to feel like that I sit in, the people that make evergreen videos. Now, the only reason I was able to quit when I was able to quit was because all of my older videos, and I'm talking about the proper complete history series, you know, the gaming history series, all of that sort of thing, were videos that were still popular 2, 3, 4 years after I created them. And I don't want to get into too specifics with money or anything along those lines, but say, for instance, I mean, I'm just throwing a number out there. A video like Streets of Rage would still, you know, bring in a good amount of views every single month. And basically, that's how I managed to sustain a living on YouTube. And that's how I saw myself as I left to go into doing full-time YouTubing. I'm rambling a bit here, but I'm hoping this is making sense. That didn't make sense. So, the way I saw it is if I continue to make these videos that people want to watch for the long haul, videos that are not throwaway. As an example, if I do a review of the new Call of Duty game, obviously you know I'm not going to do that sort of content because I don't like those sort of games. But if I was to do a one-off review on a new Call of Duty game, that would be incredibly popular. instantly, which would be more popular than, for instance, like a complete history on I don't know, Croc or Mario Kart or whatever. But then it would instantly not be as popular anymore, where my Mario Kart video would not be as popular, but it would roughly stay about the same. Do you understand? That's how I saw my videos. That's the sort of videos I like to create, and thankfully they were working for me in the long run. So I eventually created a huge stockpile of like over 300 videos like that. So each one would bring in a little bit every single month, and that would basically be my baseline. Now, little did I know, I left, like I say, in like November, December time, 2018. I had an incredible December that year. I put out the Bob's Game Kickstarter video, which I think was actually probably the best Kickstarter video I've ever done, working with Wang, great channel. And January rolled round. I was putting out even more content that was getting even more views instantly. But for some strange reason, I don't know why, and here's one of the first negatives. For the first time in, I don't even know how long that was, 3.5, 4 years, those old videos were just not doing well anymore. I have no idea why. I actually have contacts at YouTube. I've spoken to them, and they've actually given me different answers. No one knows why. It's all we do know basically is it's down to the algorithm. So older videos that that were basically my safety net in a sense was that safety net went from this to this basically, and it got very, very scary. Now, like I say, I had to make sure that when I went full time on YouTube, I was secure as anything. We just moved into a brand new place. Like I say, I've got a big family, all of that sort of thing. And I wanted to make sure this worked. So we saved up a little bit of money, and over the next few months, the views just didn't come back. People still watch Streets of Rage and Golden Axe and all of these old videos. You know, they still do fine, but I'm not even joking, 10% what they were 3 months ago. I honestly don't know why. Thankfully, I was making a lot more content because, you know, I was full-time. So it was just about there. We started eating straight away into that money that I'd saved to go as a full-time YouTuber. And it was scary. YouTube were not giving me any kind of reason why this had happened. Like I say, the content hadn't changed. It was just for some reason no longer showing up in searches. It wasn't being suggested, that sort of thing. It was just an algorithm thing, and there was nothing I could do unless I wanted to completely change up my style, which I didn't want to do, to be able to save this. And that's when, and this is what's going to probably turn quite a few people off, I discovered the world of sponsorships. Now, guys, if it wasn't, this is the sad thing about this, if it wasn't for sponsorships, and I had been offered sponsorships in the past, but if it wasn't for sponsorships, I probably wouldn't be doing this full time. It's the way it is. Now, at the time I was getting sponsorships probably every week or every 10 days, 2 weeks, roughly around that time frame. And I would almost turn every single one down. One or two would fall down, make their way through the net, a good bit of software, whatever it is that I actually think looks good, and I'd look up reviews, that sort of thing. But if you want me to promote, I don't know, there was Bitcoin mining stuff, gambling quiz sites, so many dodgy key mailers and all that sort of stuff, then yeah, I would have sponsors for every single little video I do, no matter what it was. And I'd make an absolute killing doing it. But it's so dodgy, in my opinion. And now, I tell you what, I mean, today alone, I cleaned out my email this morning. I must have deleted easily double digits, at least 10 to 20 offers from companies, most of which I'd never, ever heard of. And that's the thing, when you get to this stage, you have to make sure you choose sponsorships that, you may have heard of. I don't want to say any names here because I don't want to tarnish anyone, because I don't believe they deserve to be tarnished. I only put sponsorships in my video from companies that I believe are good companies. Normally that's, I look up reviews, and in some cases when they would actually send me something, I would actually receive it before I accept the offer. And yeah, so I've worked with some incredible companies this year. and if it wasn't for sponsorships and Patreon filling that gap that YouTube just instantly took away from me 2 or 3 months after I went full time, like I said, I'm not going to say I would stop doing YouTube. I love doing YouTube, but I would have to go back to full-time work, and the amount of content would shoot right down. Thankfully, I have been doing YouTube full-time for a year, and I did have that out of the blue safety net, because like I said, I hadn't really dabbled in sponsorships beforehand. Thankfully, because of the reason I did have those things, I was able to get out almost 100 videos this year. That's insane. I didn't quite get to 100. I was over 90. I think I'm about 94, 95 videos I've done this year. And I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but I do feel like this year is the best videos I've ever put out, ever. But yeah, in that regard, it's been a tough year. It's not been a hard year. I've definitely eaten into all of that savings that I put by just to make sure that I could do this full time. And we're coming into January again, which is scary, but hopefully I'll be able to, stay afloat. I honestly think I will be able to. So yeah, to all of the patrons out there and the sponsors, I'm not too scared to thank sponsors in videos like this. If it wasn't for people like you, then like I said, I probably wouldn't have a channel. So thank you all so much. I would have a channel. What am I saying? I wouldn't be able to make this a full-time job. So yeah, thank you all so much. Now, jumping from one negative to another, I do apologize. I won't make this a negative video, I promise. I'll try not to. This year's been hard for other reasons as well. About halfway through the year, we got hit with the biggest hit of our lives, in all honesty. And even though it's a bad thing, this is all personal. Even though it's a bad thing, if I didn't have a job literally upstairs in my office and out in the games room outside, I wouldn't have been able to be here for my wife as much. And I can guarantee you that the whole family thank you guys for being able to let us do this. This is a job. Because this year, about halfway through the year, I'm not going to go into too many specifics, but we got told by one family member that but we already knew that they had cancer, but basically it got to the point where they didn't have long left. Then it happened with another family member about a week later. And then it happened with a really close friend a couple of weeks later. And then it happened with another family member. So 4 people in the space of a couple of months, literally. The end result of that now towards the end of the year is one person is fully cured, which is excellent, given the all clear. One person is pretty much there, we're waiting on the final bits there. One is still up in the air, getting treatment, and one, the closest member, or one of the closest members, sadly didn't make it. It's life. It just all happened at the same time, sadly. It's the way it is. This isn't me trying to throw a sympathy thing out there, but the reason I was so quiet towards the second half of the year on places like Twitter, and definitely the reason why my videos suddenly become every weekend to just very sporadic, was because how can I work when I need to be, comforting the family? There's no way I'm going to be choosing talking about video games and Kickstarters over spending time with, the wife and other family members. So, this year has been incredibly hard in that sense as well. Hopefully it's all over in that regard, or at least the majority of that shitstorm is gone. Like I say, it's just life, and we all go through it from time to time. It just seemed to happen. It just hit us fourfold in the space of a couple of months. So it's also the reason I wasn't able to make it to Blackpool this year. A lot of people kept asking why, and that was why. But yes, all the negatives out the way. Obviously, that has nothing to do with YouTube, but I was just letting you know what happened in this last year. I still think this year, YouTube-wise, was the best year I've ever had. I think I created the very best videos I've ever made. I started the Kick Scammer News series. Like I said, I put out like 95-ish videos. I I started the history in the games videos, and I personally think they're the best videos I've ever made, especially the War of the Worlds. That particular video, I didn't get the biggest amount of views, but that's the video that the most amount of people have ever walked up to me and said, thank you so much for making that particular video. And yeah, like I say, not the biggest amount of views and far from the biggest amount I've ever earned on a video, but people just, you know, the fact that I've made a connection there, that makes it all worthwhile. But yeah, I love this. I love this job for that particular reason. And it gets so much better as well. I mean, like I said, I've been doing YouTube now for, I think it's like close to like 4.5, nearly 5 years, something along those lines. And it's because of moments like that it is without a doubt the best job I've ever had. I've done another list here as well. It also means that I've been able to stay at home and not spend an hour each way just driving to a job that isn't meaningless. Obviously, anyone that's watching this video from previous work, and I wouldn't be in the job if I thought it was meaningless. But this is where I'm really able to shine, obviously, and I haven't wasted my time driving to and from. Spending 10 hours a week just in a car in traffic. I've been able to be with my wife and be with my family and actually watch them grow. I think in my old job I wasn't able to get home until like 6, half 6, and then half an hour later the kids are off to bed. Now I can actually see them grow and be part of the family a lot more. That's just so important to me. You know, I've worked with just so many incredible people that I knew beforehand, people like Larry Bundy and people like Ashins, Lazy Game Reviews. These people that like heavily inspired me, I've managed to get to work with. And I've said this before in other videos, but I started discovering other YouTubers after I become a YouTuber, because that's when you really heavily start promoting yourself and you discover, I think, more like-minded individuals, people like Kim Justice, just so many to name, Novabug and all this sort of thing. That's why I do the 10 YouTubers under 5K, because I want to keep those people in the community. And I've managed to just completely work with so many people and made friends, people that don't even make content. Darren Brown, Sobi Kwang DX, you know, all of these cool people, and my admins over on Discord as well. Yeah, I've managed to make so many great friends. I was part of Digitizer. How awesome was that? Which actually put me up on IMDb. That's quite that's quite exciting. That's made my head a bit big. I worked with a guy called Rob on a Kickstarter on a documentary all about the history of box art, and I had a significant role in every episode of that documentary, and that's a documentary that's going out on national television, guys. So, I mean, how incredible is that? I'm actually working on another documentary as well. I can't say too much about that yet, but it's, again, video game related, and that'll be coming, I'm assuming next year. We'll have to see. I'm just helping create that. What else? I've worked with, obviously, so many incredible companies. Who have I written down here? Obviously, Data Discs. You guys have been supporting me since very early days. Numbskull, I've really heavily worked with you guys this year. Thank you so much. Obviously, Bitmap Books, PlayAsia are a new one from this year, and Super Rare Games. Sega, yeah. So many incredible companies that I've managed to work with. I went to Comic-Con and had a panel with Octavius and Kim Justice. Wow. That's something to put on the CV, is it not? Obviously, I built the games room as well this year. I was very briefly, I'd like to talk to them more to hopefully be featured more, but I was very briefly mentioned in Retro Gamer magazine, which is a huge inspiration for a lot of my work, and it helps me with a lot of my work. I've actually become a Discord partner thanks to Andrew Dalton, Creamy Elephant, Todd Paul Float G, and a couple of previous admins as well. I'm an official Discord partner, so thank you all for that. What else can I said? Oh yeah, I hosted my first proper panel. I've been on panels before, but I've actually done one where it was me on my own creating a proper quiz, and I worked with YouTubers from around the world, Kelsey Lewin, Cad Icarus, like I say, Lazy Game Reviews, so many. Retro Man Cave, I even went to visit Retro Man Cave and done a DJ set for him on his Twitch channel. So many others. Larry Bundy, Ashins, Kim Justice, Nostalgia Nerd. I've worked with so many people this year, like I say, on panels like that, as well as plenty of Q&As as well. Like I say, I started the Kick Scammer News and the History in the Games videos as well. I got my own beer to come out. That wasn't this year, but still, I released my very own beer. I went to Norway. I got invited to a convention in Norway. People in Norway know who I am. What? Like, insane. Again, this wasn't actually this year. One of them was this year, actually. I wrote a segment for one of Ashin's books. I wrote a segment for another book as well. And I've actually written a couple more segments for a couple of other upcoming books. Larry Bundy Jr.'s and Did You Know Gaming's Region Locks book. Insane. Huge inspirations, and I'm working with them. You know, I've done that as well. And probably the best of all, guys. Like, I have to pinch myself for this. I've gone to Sega's offices several times to look at upcoming games and all of that sort of jazz, but to also, I went to Sega to play on Mega Drives live on their streams. What the? Yeah, it's been an absolute roller coaster. And when I put all of that together, how could I honestly ever say that those negatives weigh up against the positives? This is the best job I've ever had. And the absolute best thing, besides you people actually wanting to watch my stuff and being able to give me this opportunity to do this as a full-time job, cut out there. But the real big thing is, this is so insane. The people that that are working on Streets of Rage 4 and the new Choo Choo Rocket game that's recently come out on Apple Arcade, they watched my complete history videos and used them as a sort of a blueprint, and more on Choo Choo Rocket with the blueprint phase, but they actually used them for influencing the upcoming games. What? Oh. If that isn't like the best thing ever, I don't know what is. Like, I've had people like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, people that worked on like the Disney Aladdin games. So many people that worked on these particular games, because I've done complete histories, have reached out and spoken to me and, you know, thanked me or given me more of an insight into the history and the making of these particular games. And yeah, how could I ever tell you guys that, oh my God, I'm not too sure about YouTube? It's the best job I've ever had. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. And if you guys if you're even thinking, oh, should I get into YouTube? Do it. Absolutely do it. The friendships you will make, that feeling you get when you've actually made a decent, well, in your mind, a decent bit of content to put out there that will hopefully stand the test of time, is just so fulfilling. And again, I know I keep saying it, but thank you all so much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah. So, long story short, I really like being a YouTuber. It has its ups and downs. This year's been very tough personally. That's nothing to do with YouTube, but personally. And it's also been incredibly tough because YouTube just changed the algorithm. It is what it is. Thankfully, I was able to twist that around, and I'm really hoping that it doesn't get worse in 2020. I can continue working with plenty of companies to continue helping grow, to continue helping maintain the channel. For goodness sake, first the memory card and now the bloody battery. Moving forward, like I said, I want to be able to get more content out. That's not going to be throwaway content. I want to continue making those really, really big, fat, complete histories that I'm super proud of. I do have plans to make Kickstarter more of its own thing. I'm going to be doing Kick Scammer News every month, as I've been doing this year, and I want to put out one big Kick Scammer video every month, but I am going to revamp the way it looks a little bit. You know, I think you guys have been hearing, I want to take you for a ride, probably a little bit too much. So I'm going to be changing up the format a little bit, and I'm going to be working with someone to actually help me edit this in a new particular type of way. It's still going to be Kick Scammer, but I just want to clean it up a little bit. There's going to be more Kick Scammers. There's going to be more complete histories. I'm really, really proud of my History in the Game series. I want to try and put more of those sort of videos out, and obviously chuck a couple of obscure ones in there as well that I know exactly won't bring in the views, but you know, I'm going to enjoy them, and I know the hardcore fans of I'll tell you one, things like the A-team and A-team history in the games will enjoy that. So, yeah, all of that's coming. And for the biggest news, although I shouldn't really say it because it might not even happen in 2020, I have very only just started writing, or at least putting the structure together to write my own book. A lot of these YouTubers have done this, and I'm jumping on the bandwagon too. I've done YouTube as something on the side, as a hobby to put on the side of my 9-to-5 job. And now that it is my 9-to-5 job, writing a book is going to be my new hobby that I do, maybe one day a week or in the evenings or something, until I get to a decent part, and then I can actually start talking to you guys a little bit more about it. All I will tell you, it is going to be based on the Complete History series, and it's going to be focused on Disney video games, the Complete History. Fuck it. I told you what it is. That's what I'm working on. It's going to be a long way off. So I know I've shot myself in the foot because people will be asking me about that forever and ever. But I've got so many contacts now since doing these videos, and so many other YouTubers that I would like to work with on this particular book, that I think it'd be stupid if I didn't do it. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. 35 minutes, apparently. Ooh, with all the editing taken out. A little bit less for you guys. But, yeah. Again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this. Thank you all so much. I can't stress that enough. It's incredible that you've given me this opportunity. Thank you. I really do hope I've done you guys proud. And I hope that I continue to do you guys proud in the future. I suppose this is where I'll sign off. So yeah, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all sticking around in 2020. Bye bye.